we will see the receipt method, receipt class, and the other configurations. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, this receipt class and receipt method is used to create the receipt in application. So this will
Mm-hmm.
have a referencing to the invoice.
Mm-hmm.
So we will match the invoice and we will do it. So that's the purpose. So to create the receipt method, basically we want the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So bank account we created in our earlier configuration when we create the payable supplier and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So we will we will use the same bank.
Oh, okay.
I'll just say direct, and also we have different methods here. So firstly
Mm-hmm.
we will see direct. So I'll
Okay.
explain each one of it. So
Mm-hmm.
here if you see we have creation method as a manual and automatic and bills receivable. So
Okay.
when we say manual, this particular receipt is created manually by the user. So this
Mm-hmm.
is not an imported one. Okay.
Okay.
And when we say automatic, so this is created automatically using when we saw the system option. If you remember, we saw something called auto apply, matching, and the other things.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, system will create the based on the condition. System will
Okay.
create the receipts automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So how system is creating automatically is that we have this one logbox processing. So as I
Okay.
said, logbox processing, we will have it received from backend. So
Mm-hmm.
since we don't have communication with backend, so we will not be able to see that. But
Mm-hmm.
the this thing when we are doing this receipt completely, so that
Mm-hmm.
time we will see the configuration of the logbox, but we will not be able to do the logbox, but we will see
Mm-hmm.
the configuration and the process for it.
Okay.
Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so that is when we will use the logbox. I mean the automatic option.
Okay.
And we have bills receivable. So bills receivable is kind of an instrument where we say that this particular payment instrument will be released on one day and
Mm-hmm.
maturity will come on another day. So let's say I have a scenario of post-dated checks. So check I will
Okay.
give it today.
Mm-hmm.
So on that day, I will record this payment as this has been dispatched or it has been remitted, but
Mm-hmm.
not yet cleared, or the maturity date hasn't received. So
Okay.
this maturity date will receive, let's say I gave the instrument on 10th of November, but whereas the
Mm-hmm.
maturity date will receive only on 25th of November.
Mm-hmm.
So for those purpose, we can use bills receivable. But whereas in the normal receipt, if you see, we
Mm-hmm.
don't have the concept of maturity. So on the maturity date, basically we are creating the receipt.
Okay. And all this is what? At the bank end or is this at the customer end?
This is customer is creating.
Okay.
You are asking about the party who's creating or the transaction you are asking.
Say now let's say you select bills receivable method, right?
Okay.
This method is for the bank or is it for the customer itself? In
No,
terms
this
of
is,
what I meant to say is like when you said the check is being given, right? Let's say
yeah,
if the check is given on the 10th, but the maturity of the 10th of that check is on the 25th. So if it is the 25th, is it, I mean, is it the bank that's holding it and then processing it? It's that's what you mean when you say
yeah,
bills receivable, right?
yes, correct.
Okay.
We receive from the customer on 10th of November. So
Mm-hmm.
we record this in our books. So we
Okay.
say this is an bills receivable. So
So,
after
so that recording is by the bank,
no,
is what I meant.
not by bank. It is by us actually. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
But it's just that the bank does that processing on that specific day.
yeah, 25th
Okay,
November.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the thing in bills receivable. So
Hmm.
probably we will see after we complete the normal transaction, like the invoice receipt
Hmm.
at the other part of it, then we will see the bills receivables also. So
Okay.
for now, we will see the manual one.
Mm-hmm.
So in manual, if you see, we have multiple options. So when we say no remittance, which means we don't have bank communication. So
Mm-hmm.
in case of cash and the other things, we will use basically the no remittance. So in
Okay.
this case, what will happen is that we will not have the remittance and the processing and the other things. So
Uh-huh.
simply we will say that no remittance, and immediately this receipt status will change to cleared.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of scenarios will be applicable for the cases where I'll just walk into Walmart and I'll just uh, buy some item and I'll give it in cash or whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
immediately this will be cleared.
Okay.
So for those cases, I can say directly. So directly is nothing but without bank communication, we are clearing it automatically.
Okay. So in our case, when we do it also, it's no remittance, right? Because we don't have a bank involved right now.
No, in our case, bank is there.
Okay. That's because you created an AP.
Yeah, is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is on the remittance. And apart from that, if we see, we have standard as well. So in standard, we have two options. So
Mm-hmm.
either we can choose by matching or by
Mm-hmm.
automatic clearing. So by automatic clearing is something that using the schedule process, the programs, basically we will
Mm-hmm.
clear the receipt that is from the remitted to cleared status. The other way is that
Mm-hmm.
matching. So matching through bank statement. So what we will
Okay.
do is
Can
that,
you repeat that? Sorry, I missed the previous one. Can you repeat that?
yeah, so matching, I mean, you're saying about the matching one, right?
Automatic clearing, right? I think we
Yeah,
finished
yeah,
automatic clearing,
yeah,
right? Can you
yeah,
just
yeah,
repeat that?
yes, yes. So automatic clearing is something that we run this particular schedule process or the program to clear this
Mm-hmm.
particular receipt. So after running this
Mm-hmm.
program, system automatically changes the status to cleared. So when we will run this particular
Okay.
program is that, let's say we have a kind of a scenario where the payment is made through wire. So it will be done immediately and we will get kind of a notification or anything like an API call and the other thing. So for those cases, what we
Mm-hmm.
can do is that we can say that automatic clearing. So in this case, I can
Mm-hmm.
just run the concurrent program or the scheduled process to make the status
Mm-hmm.
from remitted to cleared.
Okay.
Okay, so this is automatic clearing. And the other
Mm-hmm.
way is that by matching. So by matching is nothing but
Okay.
matching our bank statement. So what we will do
Mm-hmm.
is that we will import the bank statement, and after importing, basically we will do the reconciliation between our receipt, that is receivable transaction, and the statement that we receive. So after we do the
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation, here in receipt, the status will change to cleared.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the
Mm-hmm.
methods of handling it. And apart from that, we have other one called factoring. So this will be used mostly for US-based cases. So factoring is nothing but we are just surrendering our receipt and we are uh, getting some sort of short-term debt. So that is what we
Can you
say.
hold on for a second, please?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just need to put my dog. Sorry about that.
yeah.
I have a class. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so factoring is something that we will just surrender our receipt and we will get kind of a short-term debt where it might be 60% or 80% of the receipt amount. So what will
Okay.
happen is that after surrendering this particular receipt, bank will give certain percentage of amount.
Mm-hmm.
So, so this will be considered as a short-term debt. And when bank receives the actual amount from the customer, so that is when this amount will be knocked off, and
Mm-hmm.
the remaining amount will be settled to us or the customer who's implementing.
Okay.
Okay. So that is what about factoring.
Mm-hmm.
So now we will set up this one standard. So we will see both the things. We will see Tata Standard, and also we will see the Tata Direct.
So what does that do? Debit memos inherit receipt numbers?
Yeah. So when we click debit memo, just just yeah. So when we say debit memo inheritance, so which
Mm-hmm.
means let's say I do a refund. So this refund will be initiated with the I mean when we are creating this debit memo,
Mm-hmm.
this debit memo will have the number of receipt number along with the debit memo number. So we will see
Okay.
that when we are doing the receipt reversal, we
Mm-hmm.
have the standard reversal and we have the debit memo reversal. So the
Okay.
difference is that the standard reversal will end in what do you call the receipt application. But whereas the
Okay.
debit memo reversal will go back to our this thing invoice, and it
Mm-hmm.
will reverse the actual invoice as well. So that is the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, we will see there in the system. So for now, it is just to
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
have this number replicated there as well, debit memo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So automatically it comes when you select the remittance method, clearance method comes to by matching automatically.
Yeah,
Standard when you select. Okay.
yeah, yes.
So is this the same one that you're selecting from what you created in AP?
Yeah, yes, same thing.
Okay.
I'm just trying to attach the same bank.
Okay. Let's assume if you haven't set up anything in AP yet, is it possible to create here?
Yeah, we can create here as well. Here in the
Okay.
sense, we will have the same options here and receivable as well. So we
Oh,
have
in receivable, but it's a different what do you call task.
yeah, yes, different
Okay.
task, not on the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we created for standard.
Mhm.
So, okay, first we will see the standard one, or I'll create the direct as well, so
Okay.
that we can directly go to the the transaction.
So usually you give the receipt methods the effective start date as the beginning of the year.
Yeah, yeah, that is the usual practice, so that we will not miss any particular this thing while we are importing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are done with this. So here we have two options, either to use it automatic or manual. So automatic is used when we have the logbots and the other processing. But
Hmm.
for our case, we are choosing the manual option.
Okay.
And here we will select the receipt method that we created just before this configuration.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'll just say one for direct and one for standard.
Mhm. So all of these receipt methods, receipt sources, everything is based on a business unit, specific business unit.
Yes, correct.
So if you have, let's say, 10 business units, then you'll have to create this 10 times.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Is there a way you can copy and do this? Like duplicate and the
No,
setups? No?
no, we don't have option to duplicate it. So only option is that I mean to create it manually.
Yeah.
So we
So
will,
everything separately, we have to do it no matter what.
yeah,
If they have 100, you have to do it 100 times
yeah,
plus whatever. Like if they have multiple like this, as you said,
yeah,
receipt sources, then you double it.
yeah, correct.
Okay. So there is no way like, oh, you can't do any other way. Also, it has to be only this way. No
Yeah,
other spreadsheet way or anything that makes it faster or simpler.
yeah, because the reason being is that this is our this thing. Uh, this will affect our base tables.
Mm,
So when this is affecting our base table, if we do any sort of addition
hmm.
inside this base table directly, because this will not pass through our interface table. So
Okay.
directly hitting base table is not suggested. Even by Oracle, it is not suggested basically. Because what will
Hmm.
happen is that when we apply the patch and the other thing, so
Hmm.
this base table data might wipe off by the patch
Okay.
that we are applying.
Hmm.
So in that case, our entire implementation will go wrong. So that is the
Hmm.
reason Oracle or even the standard practice, it will not allow us to do any sort of automation inside this particular setup. So not
Okay.
this particular setup, any sort of setup, it is
Any
not.
setup.
Yeah. So that's why if you see, we will have the automation only for the transaction, but not for the setup. So setup,
Mm.
if you see few things, they have automated like the calendar and the
Hmm.
other thing wherever it is possible. But here,
Okay.
still this is a manual option.
Hmm. So if let's say you're doing all this in the test environment and you have to export everything to production,
Okay.
so you just do that import export and do it all the
Yeah.
migration, all the
Yes.
setups. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we are done with our configuration, the basic configuration.
Hmm.
So now we will create a customer
Hmm.
and we will create a transaction for that.
Okay. You won't believe I was looking at this. I took this test environment earlier, okay,
Okay.
before training or anything. I just had the test environment and I was looking at this and I was like, how the heck does this guy go to this transactions and everything? I don't see that. So I was really struggling to figure that thing out. I was like, I'm going to receivables. I've, selected the offerings. I've got all the things. I don't know what I'm missing. So finally, I realized maybe it's just that role that's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang, I thought. I mean, of course, I realized it later. It was too late. I was like looking at it, and that fellow in that video, and YouTube video, he shows he's got transactions. He's got, where the heck are those?
Yeah, actually, they will show only part of it. So
Yeah, so I'm like, where the heck are those things? I'm not seeing that. I said, I wrote to that guy, whoever gave me the environment, where is the transaction nonsense? I don't see that. And that guy says, I see it. I'm like, where the heck does he see it? So that is funny. So this was the first page.
yeah, this is
Can
the
you go
first
up?
page.
So, so we had the organization name, the account information, the account number. Okay, account number is the customer number,
Yeah,
and
these are
then
the things.
account address. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if you see here, so maybe I'll just complete this one alone, and I'll start from
Yeah, yeah.
beginning. Yeah. So here, if you see, so we have two kind of customer types. So either it can be a person, or it can be an
Mm-hmm.
organization.
Mm-hmm.
And inside this, we have again the name, the Tata customer, and system will
When do you
generate.
usually have a person as a customer?
So we will have person as a customer when we have the internal resource where we are generating revenue out of it. So that is when we will have this as a person, or maybe we
What does
are.
that mean?
So let's
I
say,
mean,
just one
mhm.
minute. Yeah. So let's say I run what do you call the retail business. So customer
Mm-hmm.
will just walk in and customer will just purchase this particular item. So in this case,
Mm-hmm.
I won't say this is an organization. Instead, I will say this is an person because this is an
Okay.
individual who is procuring from me.
Okay.
And the other case is that it is being handled between two different organizations. Let's say Tata is handling with Honeywell. So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, Honeywell is an organization to me.
Okay.
So person is nothing but an individual who just walk in and he purchases. But
But
still, we are,
typically what we use is organization only, right?
yeah, mostly.
Because
Again, this depends on the client requirement because if you see for Walmart cases, we
mm-hmm.
cannot use the organization since mostly this is what do you call the cash and carry business. So where they
Okay.
mostly handle the cash transactions or the credit card or the other cards transaction, but we don't deal with any kind of organizations where very few cases where we will supply in bulk. So apart from that, most of the transaction comes from the what do you call the normal individual customers. So for those
But do
cases,
you think individual customers, I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. Let's say a business is there, like as you said, Walmart. Okay.
okay,
And we are customers. Okay. We just go purchase something, we come back. So I become a customer for this guy and he puts me as a person in the system.
yeah, yes, he will put as a person in the system,
Hmm.
and he will generate the invoice because he cannot add as an
Okay.
organization.
So then in that case, then every retail company should have it as a person only.
It's not mandatory. There is a high possibility because it is not mandatory that I'll sell only to the individual. I might sell as a bulk order to some other vendor as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, of course, it can be a combination of those
yeah,
two.
yes, correct.
Okay. Because when I'm looking at, I'm thinking about Target or any other shop for that matter,
Yeah,
So if I were as a person, how can he keep on adding different people in there? I mean, that's my confusion. It's like, there'll be hundreds and thousands of people who come and shop.
yeah,
One person will shop one time, the next time he will not shop. Let's
yeah,
assume somebody else goes there. So
yeah.
his record will be permanently in the system.
Yeah, so there are two options to this. So either we can say that ad hoc this thing customer, and we can say that whoever the customer that is walking in, we can just say this is an ad hoc, and we can generate the bill upon this. So this we will not have complete control over our this thing receivable items. So
Mm.
this can be applicable where we receive cash immediately, but
Yeah.
for a few customers, we might give credit period of maybe 1 week or sometime. So for those kind of customers, we will have to register as a person, and we will say that this person name is maybe Peter or whatever it is. We will just
Mm-hmm.
register as it is. So
Mm-hmm.
we will maintain the account for this particular customer, and we will track it, and we will maintain the receivables, and we will get the amount received on a particular date based on the
Okay.
terms that we agreed. So for
Okay.
those places, we will do this. So this is kind of a manual intervention, and the other case is that we can create the customer automatically also if
Okay.
there is a requirement to create it.
Okay. So what I'm assuming is at this point is like if let's say I'm talking about a retail company or a retail industry or a shop.
Okay.
So if that's the case, let's say if Walmart has if Walmart gives their cards, people usually take the Walmart cards. Those kind of people probably will be set up as persons here,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because
Correct.
usually they are the frequent users of that particular Walmart card, and they get some incentives over it, and that's the reason. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is a segregation basically. So in this
Mm-hmm.
case, we have taken as an organization that is Tata customer,
Mm-hmm.
and a system will generate the account number automatically. I mean, this is sequential one,
Mm-hmm.
and we say we have two kind of
Where do we set up this sequence? Do we set it up or does it come automatically?
no, it will come automatically. Oracle standard
Okay,
procedures
so
and
we don't
everything.
have to check anywhere anything saying that it has to be automatic and start
Yeah,
from this number or anything.
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have the account type. So account type can be external or internal. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
few cases, if we say internal, which means inside our company, we are doing the transaction. So in
Mm-hmm.
case of AGS and the other things, so we will say internal.
Okay.
Because even though it is an different companies, let's say Tata Steel and Tata Consultancy, so
Mm-hmm.
even though it is two different companies, we say this as a single entity.
Okay.
So we will classify the other unit as an customer, and we will
Mm-hmm.
say this is an internal. But in this case, if we see this is an external because I don't have any relation between inside the company, but
Mm-hmm.
whereas I have relation in terms of customer.
Okay.
So I say external to this one, and
So
I can,
just a quick question here.
yeah,
So I got what you said in terms of external and internal, but let's say AGIS is there.
okay.
And then how do you define those customers? Do you have to define them again as internal customers for them to use the AGIS?
No, basically system will generate own customer for the legal entity. So we will pick that particular legal entity and we will mention this is an internal customer, and we will create account for that particular legal entity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe you'll have to show me.
yeah, yeah, sure. Maybe when we are seeing it, maybe we will get
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah, and we have given the customer classification.
Consumer.
I
Okay.
just said
Corporate
that.
gyms, federal class, retailers, hospitality. Okay.
Yeah. Then we have the reference data set.
Mm-hmm.
So here I have attached Tata R203 that we created when we are creating the business unit. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
using the same thing. So
So this
this
is the difference between EBS and this.
uh,
Or do we never use that reference data set there, right? For
no,
account address.
no, we used this one reference data set.
No, no, I understand here. This is fine. But what I'm saying is in EBS, do we use?
No, no, EBS we don't have the concept of
Yeah, that's what
reference.
I'm saying. So that's the difference between EBS and this one, I'm
Yes,
guessing.
yes, we don't.
When I look at the customer itself, because rest of them are the same.
Yeah,
So the account address is where you're putting this RDS.
yes,
That's the new one.
yes,
Okay.
correct. Yes, correct. We don't have the concept of reference data set there. So there
Mm-hmm.
basically we'll just select the location and we will just move on to
Yeah, yeah.
the other configuration. But
Mm-hmm.
here this will be handled or this will be handled in the reference data set level where reference data set. So when we are seeing this business unit, I was saying that we can use the common set as well, but
Mm-hmm.
where we will have problem is that when we are creating the customer. So
Mm.
here, if you see from the list of values, we will not see the common.
Okay. So it
Yeah,
searches for a unique one specific to that business unit.
yeah, yes, it should be unique. So we
Okay.
cannot use this. So only option maybe we can use is that enterprise. So enterprise will be
Okay.
there. So enterprise set is nothing but it is kind of an global thing or
Mm-hmm.
common, but only difference between enterprise and common is that common is given by Oracle. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever configuration it is there. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say I have a payment term immediate and the other things.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to use this particular payment terms and the other things, I can
Mm-hmm.
simply say common. So common is seeded one that is created by Oracle. So it is
Mm-hmm.
going to get all those things. But
Mm-hmm.
enterprise is something that is restricted to our own enterprise. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say in common, Oracle are seated with a payment terms immediate and the other things. But
Okay.
whereas within the enterprise, that is Tata Enterprise, I
Mm-hmm.
have configured only for Net30. So I'll not be able to use the other things that is
Uh,
common and this thing. So that is the difference
okay.
between enterprise and common.
Okay. Okay.
So
Got
here in this case, if you say enterprise, even here we have sort of an restriction,
it.
but
Mm-hmm.
not to the level of business unit, but as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the reason we are selecting our own reference data set
Mm-hmm.
inside business unit so that we will have more control over it
Mm-hmm.
and we can use it when we are doing the transactions.
Okay.
I have just attached the Tata R203. Okay. And then we have the address.
Mm-hmm.
So I have given the site name
Mm-hmm.
and the other details like the country and
Yeah.
the other thing. And here, if you see, we have the multiple
Address
options.
ship to and bill to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here we have multiple options, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm selecting only the mandatory one that is built to and ship to.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, we have the deliver to, invoice to, and we have late charges and the other options as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's it. We are done with the simple this thing customer.
Do you save it?
Yeah, we will save this.
So this does, what is that? You can't use this reference data to create records. It's invalid.
That's it.
Okay.
It's because we opened this one enterprise and we
Mm.
didn't select back to this our original thing Tata 03. So that's it.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. So this is our site. So, so these are the details that we gave. And
Mm-hmm.
here, if we see, we will give access. So, when we are seeing this auto accounting, so we
Mm-hmm.
saw multiple level of generating the account code combination for the particular invoice.
Mm-hmm.
So there we saw that we have transaction type, we have site, and
Mm-hmm.
we had sales representative as well. So when we
Mm-hmm.
say this is a customer site. So if we have enabled there as a customer site, we should give the account code information here. Unless we give it here, so system will not understand. So in this case, we
Okay.
are not using it since we have given the transaction type. So
Mm-hmm.
there we have mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the cases where we say the transaction, I mean the account code generation should be on the site, so we
Mm-hmm.
should give those relevant accounts here.
Okay.
Yeah, and apart from that, we can attach our reset method as well here.
Mm-hmm.
So in our case, we have two reset methods, so I'm not
Direct and
attaching.
standard.
Yeah, uh,
So you can add multiple here, or does it
yeah,
have to be only one?
yeah. We can add multiple, but primary will be one.
Okay.
Yeah,
But that's not needed, right? We normally don't, right?
yeah. It's not needed. It's not required basically. So this is not mandatory option. So if you want, maybe if you are using one particular reset method for this customer, we can use this option.
Okay.
So in case of organizations, mostly it will be one particular reset method. So we can
Mm-hmm.
attach it here and we can say this is a primary. We have
Mm-hmm.
this checkbox to enable. So if we say primary, automatically system will take this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, similarly, if you want to create the credit card and the other things, we can add it here.
Mm-hmm. Did we have this payment instruments in EBS?
Payment instrument, it was there in EBS also.
Just there. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So this will be our this thing, what do you call the payment related instrument. If we want to add, we can just click add.
Mm-hmm.
This is for the existing cases. Let's say we have the payment, I mean credit card details and the other things already created.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Okay.
just trying to utilize it, so we can add it here directly. Or if you
Okay.
want to create it, we can just say create and we can add the credit card details.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly for the bank account as well.
Bank accounts. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Communication relations.
yeah. So that's it on the customer creation. So we have created the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So now we will create one invoice and we will see.
So what are the roles that these we have in receivables?
Yeah, so for roles, basically we have accounts receivable manager,
Uh-huh.
and we will attach the accounts receivable specialist.
Especially only two.
Yeah, only two.
Okay. So the salesperson comes into picture when we have order management. Otherwise, we don't need, or do we need
Yeah.
it?
No, when we have the OM, so that is
Mm-hmm.
when we will need the salesperson and the other things. So till then, since this is a manual transaction, so we will not
Mm-hmm.
need this basically. So here we have selected our business unit,
Mm-hmm.
and we selected our transaction type,
Mm-hmm.
and the date and the other things will be populated automatically based on the open period.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that we can check, and if we want to change, we can change that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will have the customer details. And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, the other things like invoice rule and these things are there. So
Mm-hmm.
these things we will see when we are seeing the revenue recognition. So after this normal transaction,
Mm-hmm.
basically we will see the revenue recognition and these things. So
Okay.
that time we can see these things.
Okay.
So for now, these are the mandatory information. So we have filled in. So this is the transaction that is inside the functional currency. So we are not using any foreign currency here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we have attached the customer that we created just now. That is Tata
Mm-hmm.
customer. And here we don't have the inventory configured. So I just
Mm-hmm.
entered in the description, and I just said this is in one quantity, unit price is 2000. So
Okay.
based on that, bill has generated.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment I save this, I will have the action. So in
Okay.
action, I can verify the distribution basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see here, so these are the accounts that is generated.
Mm-hmm.
So for tax, I didn't give the account combination, so it didn't generate.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll add it here.
So is that why it's showing incomplete?
No, incomplete is when we save this particular transaction, system will say this is an incomplete. So when
Mm-hmm.
we are completing it, it will say that this particular transaction is complete. That is
Okay.
just a sign that this particular transaction is ready for visit, or this is
Mm-hmm.
not ready. This is just in a draft mode. So when we
Okay.
see status as an incomplete, which means this is only in the draft mode.
Okay.
So complete is the status when we can account or when we can do
Mm-hmm.
that.
So, but this, the warning that you got for the tax, it should not impact anything.
Uh, no, it will
The
not.
account,
No, it will not impact. The reason is that since I didn't give it there, so system didn't create the accounts automatically. But any I can create it. I can give it manually,
okay.
so it will not impact. So only
Mm-hmm.
thing is I'll give it manually instead of automating it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have generated this one, the distribution. So what
Mm-hmm.
we will do is that we will just give complete and review. Yeah, so this is done. So if you want to take a printout of this particular invoice, we can take it from here. So we have view image.
Mm-hmm.
So from this page, we can click this. So this is how the invoice will look like.
Mm-hmm.
So this can be customized. So if you see here, so
Okay.
this is
Instead
standard.
of vision. Okay.
Yeah, the logo and the other things.
So if you have to customize this one, you have to have it as what you have to do it through the BPM or something?
BA publisher.
BI publisher. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So after taking printout, maybe we can proceed our accounting. So I'll just say post to GL.
Hmm.
So this is our accounting entry. That is
Hmm.
receivable, revenue, and tax. So receivable will be our debit item, and
Hmm.
revenue and tax will be our credit item. So our
Hmm.
tax is 100 rupees based on the calculation that we gave when we configured Fusion Tax as a part of payable configuration. So
Hmm.
based on that, system is picking. So tax is the common configuration.
Hmm.
So it is picking the this thing tax calculated for respective units.
Okay. Quick question here. So
Yeah.
now that I know, let's say in our company is there, like whatever the Tata company, and we don't have an order management or inventory or whatever. So how are we going to get the inventory items set up?
No, in
Can
that
we just
case,
have the receivables without the, I mean, of course, you need the inventory items no matter what. But what I'm saying is we need to have the inventory, but we don't need to have the order management.
yeah, there will be few cases where we will not use. So let's say I'm implementing for an industry where we might not require the supply chain modules like inventory.
Uh-huh.
So let's say implementing for maybe insurance client,
Mm-hmm.
maybe United Insurance. I'm just trying to implement it. So in this
Mm-hmm.
case, if you see, we will not need the supply chain modules like inventory and the other things because they are
Mm-hmm.
not going to keep any stock of it.
Okay.
So all they are doing is that they have the product, so that can be managed with our chart of account structure, and we have this thing, the insurance that is booked. So in this case, they might have a case where they have the core application, and
Mm-hmm.
they will have the fusion application for the better financial reporting. So
Okay.
here I'll not be creating the purchase order or sales order inside Fusion application. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to have the items created here.
Okay.
So instead, what will happen is that I'll only import the transaction from the core system. So I
Mm.
will set up the auto invoice in a way that I'll receive so and so items from the core system. So
Okay.
here I'll not have items. So what
Mm.
I'll do is that I'll have in the narration or the description, I will say that this is the item this is for against this particular product. I'm just doing this invoicing. So that is how we will manage basically. So it's not mandatory that always we will have what do you call the supply chain modules. So we might have only the financial modules also. So it
Mm.
depends on the requirement whether client is already having a product for the supply chain and the other things in the core application. So for those
Mm.
cases, we will implement only the financial modules.
Okay.
So it depends on the requirement basically. But most of the cases, if you see, we will have the supply chain modules as well.
Okay.
So for yeah, so for few cases, we will have only SEM, but finance modules will be handled by other systems. So that is
Mm-hmm.
also possible. So similarly, there might be cases.
So in this case, let's say you haven't, picked any item, right?
Yeah.
So if this is a vision instance, so you should have some item somewhere. Will you get anything when you look at it?
No, this is org specific. Since I haven't created any organization for inventory, I'll not have
Yeah.
item here. So if I have
Okay. Okay.
created item and if I have attached this item organization in our system option, so I will
Mm-hmm.
have item displayed here. So I can select from the
Okay.
list and I can use that item for the transaction.
Okay. Okay. So item basically is not actually mandatory there in the sense like you don't have to fill that.
Yeah,
You can just put the description and just move on.
yeah.
Okay.
But when we have inventory and the other things in place, it is
Yeah, yeah,
mandatory to
that time
have.
it makes
Yeah,
sense. But what I'm just trying to see is, right,
yeah,
without the item itself, you were able to do
yeah,
this transaction, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We'll move on.
yeah, yeah.
So we have created invoice. So we will
Mhm.
try to create a receipt for this invoice.
Hey, so when we did the transaction, you directly posted it to GL. We don't have to do submit accounting or anything.
No, this is online accounting, so we don't need to submit it. So let's say we have a batch of transaction. Let's say I have 100 invoices created. So
Hmm.
for each 100 invoice, I cannot create it manually. So for those
Oh,
cases,
that's
we will,
when you go and do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yes,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
So we have this program here. So we can just say create accounting, and
Create
this will run
accounting.
for all the transactions.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So here we have two kind of receipts. So
Mm-hmm,
one is standard and the other one is miscellaneous. So
mm-hmm,
miscellaneous we will see maybe after this.
mm-hmm,
So the difference between standard and miscellaneous is that in case of standard, I'll just have the invoice, which will be referenced to a particular bill that is outstanding.
mm-hmm,
So against it, I will create the receipt and I'll receive the amount. So that is the standard way of handling the receipt. And
mm-hmm,
apart from that, we will have few cases where we might not have the proper information of the invoice,
mm-hmm,
or this will be received out of the system. Let's say in an odd case.
mm-hmm,
So for those cases, we have an option called miscellaneous. So when we say miscellaneous, so this will be working based on the receivable activity. So for the miscellaneous receipts, we will give the receivable activity, and we
mm-hmm.
will capture the revenue. So that is the difference between standard and miscellaneous.
So miscellaneous is something that you don't have a specific invoice to
Yes,
attach.
correct.
Okay. And when you say what is a receivable activity, what does that mean?
Yeah, receivable activity is something for a special purpose. Let's say I'm receiving this stamp duty or something as an income. So in this
What was
case,
that? Sorry.
no, for example, I'm saying stamp duty or
Oh,
any other
stamp duty. Okay.
yeah, any other income that I'm receiving. So
Uh-huh.
this for this I'll not create a separate invoice. Instead, I'll just create a receipt directly and I'll close this. So for
Okay.
those cases, I can say miscellaneous receipt.
Okay. So you don't really need, I mean, you don't have to have an invoice in order to close that
Yeah,
receivable activity.
yeah, correct. In case of miscellaneous
Uh,
receipt.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that is the difference.
Hmm.
And then we will select our business unit and receipt method that we created. So
Okay.
as in first option, we are taking the receipt method that we created initially, that is Tata Direct. So
Hmm.
after Direct, we will see the standard one.
That receipt number is something that you put, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So this will be mostly the payment numbers, the payment reference number or the check number,
Mm-hmm.
basically the instrument number.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then we have the currency and the other things. So these
Okay.
are all basic things, and we are
Mm-hmm.
selecting our customer. So after
Yeah.
selecting our customer, we will say add open receivables. So from there we will give our invoice number. So that is
Mm-hmm.
0767. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, we will say here apply manually. So if you
Okay.
see here, I have entered the receipt for 1000,
Mm-hmm.
but whereas the transaction amount or the invoice amount is 2100.
Mm-hmm.
So which means we will apply it partially.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say submit and apply.
Manually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have applied this. So we can
Mm-hmm.
see here the entered amount is 1000
Mm-hmm.
and accounted
Counted
amount
as.
is 1000 and total applied amount is 1000.
Mm-hmm. So where does it show the remaining amount?
That is in the invoice. So we will go back to the invoice screen and we will see the outstanding dues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it is cash to receivables.
Mm-hmm.
So here basically system will show this one the history of this particular receipt. So since we just created it, so it will have only one particular this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, if we have maybe the activities like the adjustment and the other things, so
Mm-hmm.
that will reflect here.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you see here, so it has cleared automatically without any action to clear this particular receipt because we chosen the direct method. So in case of the standard, it will not happen this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we will go back to the invoice screen and we will see the balance dues.
Mm-hmm. Should you reduce the volume?
Yeah. So here if you see to check
Mm-hmm.
this particular thing, what I'll do is that I'll click action and from there I'll just click review. Sorry, not this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is installment. We have balance details, view balance details. So here we will see the original amount and the receipt amount. And if we have the adjustments and these things, we will see it here. So
Okay.
we applied 1000. So the remaining balance is 1000.
Balance is 1,000. Okay. Tax is 100. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how we will see the balances.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say if I wanted to duplicate this invoice, I can just say duplicate and I
Mm-hmm.
can this is kind of on this will make copy of this particular invoice and we
Mm-hmm.
can create it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to review the installments when actually it will be due, so that we can understand here. So here if you see
Is late. Okay.
yeah, it will say when is the due date, actually it will say.
So days late in the sense negative 30 is what? Is it late by 30 days?
No, we have still 30 days is the meaning.
Acha.
When it is in positive, which means it is in a delay. When it is minus 30, still we have
Okay.
30 days to go.
Okay. I think these are all the additional ones from EBS, right? All this,
Yeah, we don't have this thing
all
in the
this.
yeah, something like
Okay.
the original amount and the other things are there, but we don't
Yeah,
have
yeah. But what I'm saying is this
yeah,
days late and all this. Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. So this one I didn't show. So one thing is that here if you see, so we
Mm-hmm.
can post directly to GL or we can have it in the draft mode and
Uh-huh.
then we can have it posted. So when we are seeing the AP module, so we
Mm-hmm.
saw that we have only post to GL option for the invoice, but whereas for the AR we have option of drafting this
Mm-hmm.
particular transaction. So this is the
Okay.
place where we can do it. Account in draft. So we
Okay.
can view this and after that we can do the post to GL.
Mm-hmm. View transaction activities. What is that?
Yeah, it will give the historical this thing adjustment if you have made any such things. So it will basically give the
Okay.
details of it. So in
Mm-hmm.
this case, we just created one receipt. So
Uh-huh.
basically, this particular page will give us high-level information. Uh, whatever the changes or whatever the action that is pertaining to this transaction number, so
Mm-hmm.
it will be displayed here. So since we have created only one receipt against this, so we
Mm-hmm.
are saying only the receipt number and we will say
Mm-hmm.
the installed number one and
Mm-hmm.
this is an payment and we will see
Mm-hmm.
the amount and the other information of it and this
Okay.
is applied.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are the classifications that we will have.
Okay. So what was the thing that you said about there's a difference between standard and direct?
Standard and rent.
Direct.
Yeah,
Y-
standard and direct is that in case of direct, so we will not have any sort of communication with bank. So what will happen is that when I create this receipt, after I save this particular receipt, the status of the receipt status will change automatically to cleared. So if
Mm-hmm.
you see here, this has changed to clear. But whereas
Yes.
we didn't do any sort of action to make this from not cleared to cleared. So we
Mm-hmm.
just created the receipt and we saved and closed it, and system has automatically cleared this particular receipt.
Uh-huh.
But whereas in standard, it will not happen that way. Instead, unless we
Uh-huh.
match our transaction with our bank statement and we do the reconciliation, so the
Uh-huh.
status will not change to cleared.
Okay, so in that case, if it's standard, let's say if I've applied a transaction or a receipt that has only 1,000, it
Okay.
will not show as cleared because it is not matching with the 2,000 amount on the invoice.
No, it will
No?
still no, it will still clear because how
Uh-huh.
we are saying cleared is that this particular amount we received from customer. That is the meaning of having the status cleared. So even
Okay.
though it is not a complete amount, I received some amount. So this I
Okay.
can see it there in our balance details. So it is
Mm-hmm.
anyway going to show us 1,000 is received and I mean the remaining 1,000 is pending. But
Mm-hmm.
if you see, I have received 1,000 from customer. So I should
Mm-hmm.
say that this 1,000 is cleared and the remaining 1,000 is still open.
Okay.
So that's the reason we will have it cleared, even if it is a partial payment.
Okay.
But this particular open receivables will not close.
Mm-hmm.
It will still have the balance of 1,000.
Okay. You may have to show me that also standard, just in
Yeah,
case,
yeah,
so that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe we can see the standard tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Even I have to go cook dinner. It's already late. uh, So, so Arun, are we having a class? What is your today's morning, right?
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
evening, are we having a class?
yeah. I'll just give me some time. I'll just check and I'll
Yeah,
confirm.
yeah. Let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah. We can have it. I'll just check the timings alone and we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, not a problem. Because sometimes even I'm lazy nowadays. I'm not waking up because my daughter doesn't have
Yeah,
school this week. They have Thanksgiving break. So,
okay.
so yeah, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.